Hey, what's up? We're back, and this week we're going to be doing a UFC on Fox 31 breakdown real quick for the Iaquinta versus Kevin Lee fight. And this was a great fight, great card overall. I mean, I really enjoyed it. I thought it was a great night of fights, great way to end the era for UFC on Fox. So we're going to be moving on to UFC on ESPN. But man, I mean, that was a hell of a way to end the show, end the tenure. But the first fight of the night, Juan Adams against Chris De La Rocha. First fighter who was on the parlay of the week, and Juan Adams got it done, man. He went in there, finished Chris De La Rocha. I thought it was a sloppy fight. Juan Adams was taking a lot of shots. Chris De La Rocha showed a good performance, a lot of heart. Juan Adams was landing some big shots on him as well. Both guys were going back and forth, but eventually Juan Adams was able to get the TKO in that one, and just showed that his physicality, his size, his wrestling ability. And, if that guy continues to improve, continues to round out his game, it could be a problem for fighters just with his sheer size, sheer physicality, and wrestling ability. So I feel like Juan Adams is definitely someone to watch in this division. And for Chris De La Rocha, it's a pretty big-time loss. I mean, at 39 years old, already got his win in the UFC. You have to wonder if this is it for him for his MMA career. But great job to Chris De La Rocha on his career, if this is when he likes to call it an end. And, he got his win in the UFC, had an excellent performance here against a up-and-comer. He took a lot of shots, pushed him, and Chris De La Rocha has nothing to be ashamed of. Great fight for both guys. And up next, Mike Rodriguez against Adam Milstead. And, I didn't really like a lot of things Adam Milstead was saying coming into the fight about retirement. He was complaining about the UFC pay. And, I picked Mike Rodriguez to get the upset, and he was able to go in there and get it done early in round one. He got a finish, some nasty knees, nasty punches, and, just beat the hell out of Milstead at range, just really beat him up, was controlling the fight. And, Milstead landed some decent shots at first, but just got overwhelmed. Rodriguez was able to take him, or land a straight left with a big knee to the body. Milstead dropped. Rodriguez finished with ground and pound, and it was over in round one, man. And Milstead followed through on his promise. He retired in the octagon. So, props on a big career, good career for Adam Milstead. For Mike Rodriguez, that's a big-time win coming off his UFC debut, which was a loss. Now he's got a win. Now he's kind of a physical freak, man. I mean, he's a great athlete, and it's someone that's definitely has potential to be a force in that division. I mean, definitely have to look out for a guy with great striking, that's super athletic, that's improving in his takedown defense. And Mike Rodriguez is someone to watch for sure. And up next, Dan Ige against Jordan Griffin. Ige was able to win this fight. I was really nervous, going into that third round. I actually had a bet placed on Ige, and the first round, I was very surprised that Jordan Griffin was able to survive that initial jiu-jitsu storm of Dan Ige. I thought that was going to be enough to put him out. I thought that Ige was going to be able to get a rear naked choke early, but Jordan Griffin's a tough dude, man. He survived that. Second round, he put it on Dan Ige. Was very nervous going into that third round that Jordan Griffin was going to take my money, man, but Dan Ige came in. He dogged it out. He got another takedown, controlled on top. Was able to get a couple takedowns in that third round, and big win for Dan Ige. He pulled it out in that third round and got it done, man. So Dan Ige's won 2 in a row now. He's a guy that's training out there with Khabib, with Ali Abdelaziz, with all those guys. So he's definitely getting some good grappling training, and it showed. And Jordan Griffin had a great performance for his UFC debut. Pushed Dan Ige, who looks like a decent prospect in the division. And, Jordan Griffin is probably going to get another fun fight in his next fight, and he has a chance to win for sure. He's great in the scrambles. He's dynamic. He's athletic. So not a bad loss for Griffin. It was a learning lesson for him. And up next, Zach Cummings against Trevor Smith. And this was to close up the parlay of the week, and he was the most confident pick of the week as well. But it didn't really end up like that. Zach Cummings showed some very poor fight IQ, was really engaging in the grappling heavy with Trevor Smith going for takedowns, and I thought he was clearly winning the stand-up. And that was what I pinpointed in my breakdown, that one of the few ways that Trevor Smith was going to be able to stick in the fight is if Zach Cummings push the grappling exchanges and kind of went toe-to-toe with him in what he likes to do, which is the wrestling. And that's exactly what Zach Cummings did. He gave Trevor Smith his ways to win. And Trevor Smith's a dog, man. He was landing some shots on the feet. He was definitely moving forward. He was never giving up. So, he was giving him some trouble on the feet as well. But Cummings was dominating on the feet. He hurt Trevor Smith a couple times. Really thought he should have kept it there. But, that's a big win for Cummings on his debut at 185. With the loss there, he kind of would have been in no man's land for his career, moving up from 170, coming off a loss. If he would have had a loss to a journeyman fighter like Trevor Smith, he kind of would have been, in a very bad position for his career. And for Trevor Smith, that's a bad loss. He's getting up there in age. I feel like he's 37 years old. He's lost 3 or 4 fights in the UFC, and it's kind of hard for me to imagine the UFC is going to keep him around. But he's a fun fighter. He comes in, he fights, he has some very entertaining scraps. So I wouldn't be opposed to him getting another fight in the UFC. But up next, Jack Hermansson against Gerald Meerschaert, and man, I thought this was going to be a decently close fight, and Jack Hermansson just went in there, took down Meerschaert early. Like I said, Meerschaert had some pretty bad takedown defense early, and Hermansson was able to exploit that. He just took him down with ease, was able to move out of his guard easily. Passed straight into mount, was in some big ground and pound, almost got the rear naked choke. Meerschaert's a tough guy, battled through, and eventually Hermansson got a guillotine, which very surprised by. That was a great job by Jack Hermansson. Incredible performance. Really put it on, a veteran, a tough guy like Gerald Meerschaert. So Jack Hermansson kind of cemented himself as a top 15 guy. I feel like he definitely deserves a top 10 opponent next. And he has some great movement, great takedowns. And Hermansson's definitely a guy that's very interesting in that division. And up next, Joaquin Silva against Jared Gordon, and just an incredible fight, Jared Gordon was starting off fantastic in this fight, landing his takedowns, big-time punches, straight punches, jabs, closing the distance, piecing up Silva, volume, pressure. And, Silva was landing his own shots, some big shots on Jared Gordon as well, big body shots. But Gordon continued to walk him down, continued to pressure. And eventually, though, third round, Silva came out. He was down 2-0, knew he had to get a finish, throwing bombs, throwing big shots, big uppercuts, big shots to the body. Eventually caught Jared Gordon with a shot, knocked him out with a disgusting combination standing up. Jared Gordon just slumped over. Just a disgusting, nasty finish for Joaquin Silva. Huge win. That guy's 11-1 now in the UFC, or 11-1 in MMA. 4-1 in the UFC, so he definitely has a lot of momentum. His fight with Vince Pichel, a lot of people feel like he won, so he could have a 5-0 record in the UFC. And he's probably going to get a big jump up now next fight, maybe a top 15, maybe a top 25 guy. And Jared Gordon, I feel, showed a lot of major improvements, from his fight from Cesar Ferreira to that fight. A lot of people thought that Joaquin Silva was going to be able to dominate the fight, ping up Jared Gordon, and that's not what happened, Jared Gordon was landing a lot of shots on the feet as well as being able to get takedowns, able to get some control on the ground. And big performance as well from Jared Gordon, in my opinion. And he's lost 2 in a row. But I feel like if he loses that weight, moves back down to 145, where I feel like it's his real weight class, I feel like he could be a big-time force there and do a lot of damage. So big performance from both guys. I thought that they both looked impressive. And up next, I had Jakar Close against Bobby Green. And, I thought this was a robbery, guys. I thought that Bobby Green, won this fight. I thought he won all 3 rounds. I gave him 30-27 across the board. I thought that he was landing the better shots. I thought that he was winning the wrestling exchange as he took down Jakar Close. Definitely won the second round due to a top position. And I thought he was landing the cleaner shots on the feet. I thought that he was controlling the pace. And, you can give Jakar Close that third round potentially, but I really thought that Bobby Green deserved the win in that fight, I feel like that was a bit of a robbery, and don't really know what to say in terms of that. I really thought Bobby Green got the win there. But, big-time win for Jakar Close, and he's won 3 in a row now in the UFC. And Bobby Green cemented himself as he's kind of back now, 4 straight good performances since returning from those injuries, from those time off. And hopefully he can continue to get another big fight coming up soon and continue to push guys, because this is one of the best young prospects in the division in Jakar Close. And like I said, I thought Bobby Green went out there and didn't have to get the win. So Bobby Green is definitely back in form. And up next, Zach Otto against Dwight Grant, another fight that, I thought this was an even worse robbery. I don't know how in the world the judges gave this fight to Zach Otto. In the comments, if you guys thought that Zach Otto won, please tell me which rounds you think he won and why. And I really want to know someone else's perspective as who gave Zach Otto that fight, I thought the first 2 rounds were pretty uneventful, but Dwight Grant was the one that landed some decent uppercuts. He was landing some more combinations, and the third round, Otto definitely got his takedown game going. He got some takedowns. He controlled the fight, but I thought Dwight Grant clearly won that fight, I thought Dwight Grant clearly won that fight. So tough luck for Dwight Grant. Big win for Zach Otto. Now next, Charles Oliveira against Jim Miller. And I got to give a shout out to my boy, my Siege, he called this fight right off the bat. We were talking about it on Twitter. He was really high on Charles Oliveira. I thought Jim Miller was going to be able to go in there and get it done again, man. But Charles Oliveira showed a big-time improvement from their first fight. Obviously, Jim Miller isn't quite what he was either. And he was able to take him down right away, get a rear naked choke. And that's 2 quick finishes, quick submission finishes in 3 fights for Charles Oliveira, 3 straight submissions. So definitely feel like he should get a top 10 opponent next. And for Jim Miller, big-time loss, man. I mean, he had some momentum coming into this fight. And, I'm sure he's going to want to come back in quick, try to get another performance out, because that was not a good performance by Jim Miller. And if he wants to call it quits after that one, I really hope he doesn't. I think he has a lot of fun fights left in him as well, to be honest with you. But if he does, I mean, you could have to just tip your hat to a guy like Jim Miller, just an amazing career. And, obviously I always will want to see that guy fighting. But up next, Rob Font against Sergio Pettis. And Rob Font with just a dominant performance. Beat Sergio Pettis pillar to post, beat him in the striking, beat him on the ground. And the size was evident in this fight. Sergio Pettis, I don't think is going to have much success up there at 135. We've seen Rob Font lose to the upper echelon guys such as Rafael Sunsao. He's lost to guys like John Lineker, Pedro Munoz. So, I don't think it bodes well for Sergio Pettis when you look at him at the top of that division. I feel like Rob Font kind of exposed him as not being a 135er, and with 125 up in the air as well, it kind of puts Sergio in a tough position because I don't know if he wants to move back to 125 with the fear of that division, obviously not still being there. So he probably needs to take some time off, work on his game, gain some muscle, gain some physicality if he wants to stay at 135. And if he wants to make the jump back down to 125, I feel like that's definitely the more suitable division for him. But, Rob Font was able to go in there and get the win. He's won 2 out of 3 fights, against Sergio Pettis, Thomas Almeida. So those are 2 big wins in his last 3 fights. And probably in line for another top 5 guy up there at that division. And he's going to get another crack to see if he can crack that upper echelon. Because so far he's kind of been the gatekeeper to that top 10. And up next, Edson Barboza against Dan Hooker. And oh my goodness, I mean, what a scintillating performance by Edson Barboza, man. I mean, just destroyed Dan Hooker's front leg with those inside leg kicks. And he just showed, man, if you give Edson Barboza a striker, you're going to tell this dude, Dan Hooker, come out here and try to outstrike Edson Barboza. I mean, good fucking luck, man. I mean, that guy's going to be throwing some switch kicks to the fucking body that are 250 miles an hour, inside leg kicks, spinning heel kicks to the body. I mean, just devastating. He landed like 4 or 5 of those spinning heel kicks to the body that just left Dan Hooker completely paralyzed. And Dan Hooker's a beast, man. I mean, what a tough dude. The ability to take that punishment, continue to come forward, never quit, never waver, throw bombs, try to get Barboza out of there himself. But Barboza just put on a dominant performance, too fast for Dan Hooker, destroyed that leg, eventually hit him with that body shot, dropped him after he hit him with some nasty spinning back kicks to the body. And Edson proved that he's still there, man. He's still a top 5 guy. He held his spot. Dan Hooker, after 4 straight wins, took a pretty big loss there. And, maybe his athleticism just never is going to allow him to be in that upper echelon of the UFC. But, he still showed a lot of heart. But that's the type of fight, man, where you don't know if Dan Hooker is ever going to come back the same after that. I mean, that was a brutal beatdown by Edson Barboza. Just a scintillating, fantastic, epic performance. And, I really wouldn't mind seeing Barboza fight Iaquinta, man, from the main event. I mean, that would be a hell of a fight. And the winner could probably get a number 1 contender fight. So I feel like that's a good matchup to make. But on to the main event, Iaquinta against Kevin Lee. I actually had Kevin Lee winning this fight 48-47. I thought he won the first, second, and third round. But first round was definitely very debatable. And Iaquinta came in hard that 5th round, almost finished Kevin Lee. So you can't really hate on the judges for giving that fight to, Iaquinta. But, like I said, I thought Kevin Lee won the fight. I thought he was able to control the fight early on in that first round. I thought he won the striking exchanges. Second and third round, he got takedowns, took the back, definitely, clearly won those rounds. But then that 4th round, 5th round, man, I mean, Iaquinta started landing that counter right hand, started landing his uppercut. He landed this disgusting spinning back elbow in the first round. I forgot about that. That was a nasty move right there. And he just looked great, man. I mean, I thought Iaquinta looked incredible, and I thought Kevin Lee kind of had a down performance. And that all led to Iaquinta getting the upset, man. I mean, I thought Al was very sharp with his striking, just dominant with his striking against Kevin Lee. Definitely had the better striking. Kevin Lee seemed like whenever he wanted to take it down to the ground early on, he was able to do it pretty easily. And don't know why he didn't push for more takedowns. I mean, if he would have been able to get some takedowns, I think he would have been able to control the ground early and win the fight, man. But the first round, he didn't go for any takedowns. Fourth round, he didn't go for any takedowns. And it kind of cost him the fight, man. I mean, on the feet, he was landing his own shots. He was being competitive, landed some nasty body kicks, but definitely was losing the striking. He didn't push the wrestling enough as he should have, man, and kind of cost Kevin Lee, man. I really feel like that's a huge, big-time loss for Kevin Lee. I mean, I'm sure it's definitely a mental loss for him as well, because he thought that he improved greatly. He was going to go in there, he was going to beat the shit out of Iaquinta. He fought him in his first UFC fight, and he lost again to the guy. So, I mean, that has to wear on you mentally. And obviously, this is a guy who's been obviously caping for that 165, calling for 165 for a long time. So maybe this is the loss that moves him up to 170, man. I mean, I could see it happening. He's obviously had some rough cuts with 2 out of 3 losses now at 155. Maybe he'll say, fuck it. I tried my best to get this belt at 155. Can't do it. I'm going to move up now to 170. But for Iaquinta, I mean, hell of a win. I thought that he was kind of on the outside looking in terms of getting another title shot, and now he put himself right back there. I mean, Kevin Lee is a guy that's always a tough out, always a perennial contender. And he took him out, man. He beat him. And, I didn't think he won, but the judges thought he won. He earned the win. Obviously, you can't complain about it. It's not a robbery. And, obviously for Iaquinta, in my opinion, I mean, he's probably like one fight away from a title shot. I mean, maybe give him, like I said, Barbosa, someone like that. The winner gets a title shot. I feel like Tony Ferguson, Poirier is going to happen for an interim, because I just feel like Khabib's going to get suspended. Connor's going to take some time off. And they need to keep that division going. I saw that Tony Ferguson was talking about how he had a fight for Anaheim potentially, and that the opponent declined. Don't know who the opponent was, but I'm sure it was for a 155-pound interim title, and I'm hearing that it was against Dustin Poirier. So, that potentially could have happened already. And, Poirier declined, but it was on short notice, so I'm sure he would be willing to take that fight at another date, or maybe even give Iaquinta the fight with Tony Ferguson. I mean, I don't know. I mean, Iaquinta really cemented himself up there in that division now in the top 5. And like I said, I mean, if Kevin Lee wants to stay at 155, I feel like he has to take a guy outside the top 10. I mean, he's lost 2 out of 3. And, I feel like he definitely would have to take a big-time step back. So I do actually really feel like this potentially could be the fight that moves Kevin Lee up to 170 pounds. So we'll see what Kevin Lee wants to do. And Iaquinta cemented himself right back in the thick of things. But thanks for watching, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed the recap for the show. We went 8-4 overall. 1 on the most confident pick, 1 on the parlay of the week. So it was a good night for our picks, for our bets overall that I gave you on the YouTube page. So I hope a lot of people won some money tonight. Tell me what bets you guys did. If you guys won any money, if you guys lost any money, what fights you thought were robberies, what fights you thought the judges got wrong, what fights you thought they got right. And who did you think won the main event? Who did you thought Iaquinta won, or you thought Kevin Lee won? I mean, that was hell of a fight. Epic way to end the UFC on Fox tenure. And I'm going to be seeing you guys once again for UFC 232 coming up. I mean, what a card. Gustafsson, John Jones 2, Cyborg versus Nunes. Can't wait for that one. And, make sure, guys, to comment, like, subscribe, and, tell your friends about this video. Get them to subscribe as well if they're into MMA. And I'll see you guys for UFC 232. Hopefully we continue to make some more money and end the year out with a bang, on the last card. But I just wanted to say, guys, thanks for all the support this year. I mean, I really appreciate it. I did not think I was going to be able to get over 900 subscribers in just a little bit over a year. Really appreciate the support. Appreciate all the views that I've gotten this year. And just been really fun. I'm going to continue to do it. Hopefully we can continue to grow, continue to build, make the channel better, improve, maybe start doing some more different type of videos. I'm starting to think that maybe I'm going to start to create a Patreon, put some different types of videos on there. So comment down on there if you would be interested in that, if you would be interested in supporting that, and what type of videos you would want to see me do for 2019. If you want to see me do individual fighter breakdowns, if you want to see me try to do some interviews with some fighters, I could try to set that up. I mean, whatever, whatever opinions you guys have on me being able to improve the show, or what I could do to improve for next year, I mean, let me know. I'll try my best to implement those. And like I said, thanks again for sticking with me over this whole year if you have, and for following me. And we're going to continue to keep going. We're going to continue to keep improving. And I'll see you guys on the John Jones versus Gustafsson card. And thanks for watching.